Hey everyone. Ready for a deep dive into something really fascinating?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're going to be exploring the world of shamanism and spirituality.
Okay.
And our guide for this journey is going to be Shaman Durek.
Well, cool.
We've got two in-depth interviews with him.
Wow, that's a lot of material.
Yeah, it is. And his perspective is really, really interesting. Like, it's unique and captivating.
So we're not just talking like textbook definitions here.
Right.
Like,
No, not at all. It's so much more personal.
it's like we're getting his journey woven into this whole understanding of shamanism.
Exactly. And, his story starts early.
Oh,
Yeah, Durek talks about seeing spirits from the age of 5.
wow.
Can you imagine?
I mean, 5 years old, that's intense.
Right. And then, to make it even more complex, his family background is pretty interesting.
How so?
Well, he describes this clash between, like, his family's spiritualist traditions
Okay.
and then his grandfather's very strict religious beliefs.
Oh, so this duality was there from the beginning.
Yeah. And, you can see how that probably shaped his perspective.
For sure. It makes him more open to different belief systems.
And there's a story he tells about confronting a spirit in his closet as a kid.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and it turns out it was connected to his family's shamanic lineage.
Oh, wow.
And the way he tells it, you are right there with him, feeling the fear, the wonder, everything. It's really powerful storytelling.
It's incredible how those personal stories can make these abstract concepts like so much more real.
Absolutely. And it kind of leads to a key distinction that Shaman Durek makes between shamanism and organized religion.
Interesting.
Yeah, he sees value in religion, especially for the community aspect.
Okay, yeah.
And, the scriptures.
Mhm.
But he also points out that the framework of, like, reward and punishment
Yeah.
that often exists, in some religions
Mm.
can sometimes be a little limiting.
Limiting in what way?
Like, limiting for personal growth and self-discovery.
So it's like shamanism is more about direct experience, personal evolution,
Exactly.
and religion, while valuable, can sometimes restrict that individual exploration.
And Durek believes that we all come into this world with this, like, innate wisdom,
Right.
but then it gets kind of clouded by societal norms.
Makes sense. And fear-based narratives.
Oh, absolutely. And that leads to, like, self-sabotage
Right.
and a disconnect from our true potential.
And that's, I think, a really thought-provoking point. It's like we forget our own inner compass.
Yes.
Our own inherent wisdom.
It's like we're so caught up in all the external noise
Exactly.
that we forget to listen to that inner voice.
And so, I mean, if we're following Jurek's thinking here, the main obstacle to reconnecting with that inner wisdom, to that spiritual growth, is fear.
That makes sense. But then he says something that I found really surprising.
What's that?
He talks about the ego,
Oh, yeah.
not as something to be eradicated.
Right. Usually you hear get rid of the ego.
Right. But as a tool
Oh, interesting.
for self-edification and protection.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, it's not about inflating the ego
Okay,
or using it to put others down at all.
so not in a negative way.
No. Instead, he suggests using it to build yourself up,
Okay.
set healthy boundaries.
Okay, so it becomes a tool for empowerment,
Exactly.
not a source of negativity.
Yeah, instead of eliminating the ego, we learn to work with it
Right.
in a way that supports our well-being.
That's pretty cool. And this idea of using the ego constructively,
Yeah.
it actually ties into his emphasis on dream work.
Oh, yeah, he's big on that.
He wants us to dream beyond societal limitations
Mm-hmm.
and those, recurring nightmares we all have.
Yeah,
It's about consciously shaping a positive reality.
I love that.
And not just for ourselves,
Right.
but for like the collective good.
Okay, but now this is where it gets a little spooky, because this is where Durek's own experiences with spirits come in.
Okay, yeah.
And it's not all, benevolent beings of light. No. He describes encounters with mischievous elves, awe-inspiring archangels, and even spirits that tapped into his personal fears.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what do we make of that?
I mean, it's fascinating, right? He kind of suggests that the way spirits appear to us could be linked to our own individual consciousness,
Interesting.
our fears even.
So it's a very personal experience.
Very personalized, almost like a custom-made experience.
Okay, and then he gets into different types of shamans, classifying them by element: earth, fire, water, air, and spirit.
Wow, so like specialties within the shamanic world.
Yeah, it's like there are these different specialties, each interacting with these specific energies and frequencies.
That's so cool.
And then his take on the underworld is particularly striking.
Really?
It's not about punishment in his view. Instead, he sees it as a realm where souls kind of grapple with their fears and traumas,
Interesting.
working through them to find, like, a resolution.
So not the fire and brimstone concept.
No, not at all. Very different interpretation.
I like that.
He actually experienced this firsthand during a near-death experience.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, he talks about this intense life review
What's that?
where he saw the ripple effect of his actions, his energy on the world.
That's pretty powerful.
It is, and it's like at the core of his understanding of interconnectedness.
Right. Like everything's connected.
Exactly.
Our energy, our choices, our thoughts, they all have an impact.
On everything around us.
It's a big responsibility. It
Yeah.
really makes you think, huh?
It does, yeah.
And that experience, it
Yeah.
seems to be what fuels his critical view of the modern approach to plant medicine.
Oh, yeah, he's got some strong opinions on that.
He's a huge advocate for integration, for taking the time to process the insights,
Yeah.
from these really profound experiences.
That makes sense, like rushing back to daily life after something like that
Right.
without processing those lessons.
Yeah.
Could be counterproductive.
Absolutely.
Maybe even like traumatic in a way.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like building a house on a shaky foundation. Integration is that essential groundwork
Gotcha.
for genuine transformation.
So speaking of powerful experiences,
Yeah.
what about Durick's views on relationships?
Oh, he's got a very shamanic perspective on that too.
How so?
He sees relationships as mirrors,
Okay.
reflecting areas where we might need to evolve, and release limiting beliefs.
That's interesting. And he's not afraid of conflict in relationships.
No, not at all. He actually welcomes it
Oh, wow.
as an opportunity for learning.
So instead of seeing like arguments as something negative,
Yeah.
he sees them as a chance to grow and evolve.
Precisely.
Uh,
He even uses his own relationship as an example,
okay.
describing how he and his fiancée,
Yeah,
they view their differing opinions as chances to learn from each other,
right.
rather than engage in power struggles.
That's a really cool way to reframe those everyday disagreements.
Yeah,
We all have them.
for sure.
And speaking of reframing, Durick also talks about these premonitions he started having about his own death.
Oh yeah, he mentions a medicine woman in Belize
Okay.
who predicted he would die a horrible death.
Oh my gosh.
And later, while in Greece,
Mm-hmm.
he started having these visions of his own death,
Wow.
even seeing specific details like the month it would happen.
That must have been so unsettling.
Right?
Knowing that facing your own mortality like that.
It's remarkable how he just seemed to accept it,
Really?
almost preparing for it, like a
Mhm.
shamanic rite of passage.
Wow.
He even talks about wanting to make sure his loved ones
Yeah.
weren't caught off guard when it happened.
That takes a lot of courage.
It does.
And then, of course, he has this near-death experience,
Right.
which by his own account was anything but peaceful.
It was intense,
Yeah.
very visceral.
Yeah.
He describes feeling his body being ripped apart,
Oh, gosh.
excruciating pain as his organs shut down.
I can't even imagine.
He even mentions feeling knives cutting into him.
Oh, my.
But even in that moment of utter agony,
Mhm.
he was still trying to make sense of it, still observing and learning.
Wow.
And then his heart stopped, and he entered that in-between space,
Okay.
that liminal realm
Yeah.
where he experienced the life review.
He describes witnessing the impact of his actions, his thoughts, his energy
Right.
on the world.
It's like this cosmic mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back the consequences of every choice he'd ever made.
And he was even shown how something as seemingly small as an argument
Yes.
could create chaotic energy,
Mm-hmm.
contributing to events like hurricanes.
Yeah.
Or impacting someone fighting for their life in a hospital.
It's mind-blowing
It really is.
to think that our energy has that kind of reach.
It really drives home the concept of interconnectedness. Like
Yes.
everything we do
Mhm.
matters.
And in that moment,
Yeah.
facing the source of humanity's suffering,
Yeah.
he learns that it all boils down to what he calls a malfunction in thinking.
Okay, so it's not that suffering is inevitable,
No.
but that we create it
Yeah.
through our own thoughts and beliefs.
That's Durick's perspective.
Yeah.
We get so caught up
In fear.
in fear, in negativity,
Yeah.
limiting beliefs,
Right.
and we essentially feed the darkness
Yeah.
instead of the light.
That's powerful. He gives a great example about someone complaining about money being tight.
Yeah.
He refuses to buy into that narrative.
Right.
Instead, he chooses to see abundance and opportunity.
Because by focusing on lack, We give energy to what we don't want.
Yeah.
We reinforce those limitations.
Instead of breaking free from them. So
Exactly.
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
In a way,
Yeah.
he encourages us to dream greater than that which we see.
I love that.
Instead of getting caught up in the negativity of the world,
Right.
we should envision a reality more aligned with love,
Mm-hmm.
peace, and abundance.
It's like choosing to invest our energy in a brighter future.
Exactly.
So if the life review is about seeing the impact of our choices,
Yeah.
is it also about judgment?
Durek doesn't see it that way.
Okay.
He describes it as an opportunity for learning,
Mm.
for recognizing patterns,
Yeah.
for understanding why we might choose certain experiences,
Right.
even challenging ones.
So it takes away that fear of judgment
Yeah.
and replaces it with this sense of growth and evolution.
Exactly. He actually had the choice to stay in that blissful realm
Really?
in a heavenly state,
Wow.
but he chose to come back
To share his knowledge.
to share his knowledge
Yeah.
and help others awaken to their own power.
It's like he's bridging the gap between the physical and spiritual realms.
Beautiful.
And speaking of bridging gaps, Durek also talks about plant medicine, and his views on that are pretty unique as well.
He's very critical of the way plant medicine is often used today,
In what way?
specifically the lack of integration after these profound experiences.
So what does he mean by integration in this context?
He's stressing the importance of processing the insights and lessons learned during those journeys.
Right.
Rushing back to daily life without proper integration
Yeah.
can be incredibly damaging. Re-traumatizing individuals
Instead of healing them.
instead of healing them.
So it's not just about having the experience, it's
Yeah.
about what you do with it afterward.
Exactly. He even compares it to going on a deep shamanic experience in the jungle
Okay.
and then immediately going back to your job on Wall Street.
Oh.
Is that jarring?
So what does he suggest as an alternative?
He emphasizes the need for a supportive environment,
Okay.
having someone who can guide you through that integration process,
Yeah.
help you make sense of the visions and insights you've received.
Gotcha.
He also distinguishes between a shaman and an ayahuascadero.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Yeah.
What's an ayahuascadero?
It's someone who administers ayahuasca in ceremonies,
Oh, okay.
someone who understands the preparation
Yeah.
and facilitation of the medicine.
So what's the difference between that and a shaman?
A shaman, according to Durek, understands the spiritual world,
Okay.
can see and communicate with spirits,
Mm-hmm.
and can hold sacred space and guide individuals through those realms safely.
So they're like a spiritual guide.
Exactly. Ayahuasca opens a portal,
Okay.
and without a knowledgeable guide,
Yeah.
you could attract unwanted energies.
That makes sense. It's like going into a foreign country without a map or a guide.
Right.
You might stumble upon something amazing,
Yeah.
but you're also more likely to get lost or encounter danger.
He talks about the importance of asking the right questions
Okay.
when seeking a guide
Mm-hmm.
for these types of experiences.
Like what?
Do they have experience communicating with spirits?
Okay.
Do they have dream visions?
Mhm.
Are they connected to the Council of Elders?
Yeah.
These are all signs of their ability to safely guide others.
So it's not just about finding someone who can brew ayahuasca.
No.
It's about finding someone who understands the spiritual landscape
Yes.
and can navigate those realms with expertise.
Precisely. And then he gets into different types of shamans,
Oh, yeah?
each specializing in an element.
Okay.
Earth, fire, water, air, and spirit.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Fire shamans are drawn to the heat and intensity of fire.
Okay.
They perform rituals involving firestones, sun ceremonies, sweat lodges.
Oh,
They work with that transformative power of fire.
right.
Water shamans are drawn to oceans, rivers, lakes.
Mm-hmm.
They work with water spirits using water for cleansing and purification.
That makes sense.
Nice.
What about spirit shamans?
Spirit shamans, like Durek himself,
Yeah.
navigate the realms of spirit.
Okay.
They communicate with various entities traveling to different dimensions.
So they're the ones who are most directly connected to the spirit world.
You could say that he describes spirit shamans as being like magnets to the spirit world,
Oh, wow.
with spirits constantly vying for their attention.
Huh.
And because they're so attuned,
Yeah.
they're able to travel to both the highest realms of light
Okay.
and the deepest depths of the underworld.
Speaking of the underworld, he offers a pretty unique perspective on that, doesn't he?
He sees it not as a place of punishment, but as a realm where souls work through their fears and traumas.
Interesting.
He describes it as having this grayish quality with spirits trapped in their own looping nightmares.
Oh, gosh.
And as a spirit shaman, he's able to enter that realm and offer support.
That's such a compassionate perspective.
Is.
To see those lost souls as needing help, not punishment.
It speaks to his belief that everyone is worthy of love and healing.
That's a beautiful message. And how does he suggest we access that power within ourselves to heal and transform?
He talks about reclaiming our personal power.
Okay.
Which starts with connecting to our own sovereignty and aligning with our inner counsel.
What does he mean by inner counsel?
He encourages us to check in with our minds, emotions, bodies, our inner child, spirit guides, ancestors.
Wow.
It's about seeking guidance and support from within.
Right.
Rather than giving our power away
To external authorities.
to external authorities.
So it's about trusting our own inner wisdom.
Yes.
Rather than relying on others to tell us what's right or wrong.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
He even tells a story about his own father,
Oh!
who tried to control him with that classic phrase.
What's that?
I am your father and you'll listen to me.
Oh, yeah.
But Durek challenged that,
Good for him.
recognizing that his father's knowledge
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily aligned with a higher truth.
So it's about discerning whose advice truly resonates with our own inner knowing.
That's a beautiful way to put it. He broke free from that dynamic, reclaiming his sovereignty.
I like that. And that inner knowing, that connection to our own divine power,
Yes.
is what allows us to navigate the world with confidence and grace. To stand firm in our truth, even when faced with opposition.
It sounds like he's had his fair share of opposition,
I would imagine.
especially from the press.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about being misrepresented, accused of being a fraud.
And yet he chooses not to engage with that negativity.
No, he sees it as an opportunity
To practice what?
to practice love and compassion.
Even in the face of hate mail and death threats.
Even then,
Wow.
he responds with love and forgiveness,
It's incredible.
refusing to let those negative energies dictate his experience.
That's amazing.
He even jokes about it,
What does he say?
saying he might as well claim to be a unicorn incarnated as Shaman Durek,
Okay.
because that's what people are going to say anyway.
He doesn't seem to take himself too seriously.
No, he focuses on what he can control,
Like what?
his own energy,
Okay.
thoughts, and actions.
Right.
He sees time as a human construct,
Oh, interesting.
an illusion
Okay.
that distracts us from the eternal nature of our being.
So it's about embracing the present moment
Yes,
and letting go of our attachment to linear time.
that's a big part of it. And this brings us to a question a lot of people have.
Okay, let's hear it.
How do we cultivate our own psychic abilities?
Yes. How do we tap into that connection to the spirit world that Durek seems to embody so effortlessly?
His answer is actually quite simple.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Play. Play.
Seriously?
He encourages us to approach spirituality
Yeah.
with a childlike sense of wonder and curiosity,
Okay.
to experiment and see what happens.
So give us some example.
He suggests visualizing objects and seeing if they change,
Okay.
or trying to hear sounds from different locations.
Interesting.
He even talks about singing to birds and trees,
What?
having conversations with animals,
Okay.
creating stories with action figures.
That's a far cry from the image of a stern shaman meditating in a cave.
It is. It's about accessing that playful, imaginative energy
Yeah,
we often lose as adults.
we do.
He believes this playful approach breaks us free from the seriousness and dogma
Right.
that often surrounds spirituality.
So by tapping into that childlike sense of wonder,
Yes.
we can actually enhance our spiritual awareness.
That's his belief.
Yeah.
It opens us up to the magic and wonder of the universe,
I love that.
allowing us to develop our intuitive abilities
Yeah.
in a more authentic and joyful way.
He even encourages his students to meditate
Yes.
in a way that allows them to interact with the spirit world, right?
Yes. He suggests visualizing a table with flowers on it
Oh, okay.
and seeing if anyone enters the room or the scenery changes.
Interesting.
It's about actively engaging with the spirit world,
Right.
not just passively observing.
So it's about having a more participatory role in our spiritual exploration.
Exactly. He believes that by opening ourselves up to these experiences, we can learn and grow in ways we never thought possible.
It's amazing how he ties all these concepts together.
It is.
From plant medicine to relationships to psychic abilities.
It's all interconnected.
He even mentions Edgar Cayce,
Oh, wow.
the sleeping prophet,
Yeah.
who used his dreams and psychic abilities to diagnose illnesses and offer guidance.
He seems to believe these abilities are within everyone's reach. He sees them as something we can all cultivate through play exploration and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.
I like that.
It's about remembering that we're not just physical beings.
We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Exactly. And we have access to so much more than we realize. Durek talks about this idea of embodiment, and it really resonates with me.
What does he mean by that?
It's about integrating all aspects of ourselves, mind, body, spirit, emotions.
Oh, okay.
Recognizing that they're all interconnected,
Right.
all part of this beautiful tapestry of our being.
So it's not just about connecting with spirits or having these mystical experiences. It's about bringing that spiritual awareness into our everyday lives.
Exactly. He even talks about applying these principles in his relationships,
Okay.
like with his fiance. Instead of getting stuck in conflict,
Yeah.
they use disagreements as opportunities to grow.
He mentions they actually thank each other for reminding them of their divinity.
I know, I love that.
It's so sweet.
It's beautiful.
It's about seeing everyone, even our partners, as mirrors,
Yeah.
reflecting back the parts of ourselves that need healing or attention.
And this is where his concept of disqualifying negative thoughts comes in. Right.
Yeah. He talks about challenging those inner voices that tell us we're not good enough.
Those voices aren't our true selves.
Right.
They're echoes of past experiences, societal conditioning, limiting beliefs we've internalized.
So how do we disqualify them? It sounds easier said than done.
It starts with awareness.
Okay.
Noticing those thoughts and recognizing them for what they are, just thoughts, not truths,
Right?
and then choosing to replace them with more empowering beliefs.
So it's about consciously shifting our inner dialogue.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our power and stepping into a more expansive, fulfilling reality. Durek reminds us that we are divine beings,
Yes.
created in the image of love.
Anything that contradicts that is just an illusion.
An illusion we need to break free from.
I like that.
He even extends this to physical health.
Oh, really?
He says if we're constantly putting ourselves down,
Yeah.
feeling unworthy, it's a form of self-abuse. And that abuse can manifest in our physical bodies as illness.
It's a reminder that our mental and emotional well-being are so connected to our physical health.
Absolutely. He even suggests some people unconsciously manifest illnesses or accidents
Really?
as a way to reclaim their power, as if to say, I have control over my body,
Interesting.
even if it means making myself sick.
That's a really interesting concept.
It highlights how powerful our beliefs can be
Yeah.
in shaping our reality. He talks about how some people might sabotage their finances
Okay.
or relationships to prove their limiting beliefs to be true.
It's like they're creating those experiences to validate their negative self-talk.
Exactly. That's why he emphasizes choosing empowering beliefs,
Right.
beliefs that support our growth and well-being.
Okay.
He even encourages experimenting with different belief systems,
Oh, wow.
seeing which ones resonate
Yeah.
and make us feel most alive.
So it's about finding what works for us individually,
Yeah.
what helps us tap into our own inner power.
And ultimately, that's his call to action. He wants us to become dreamers,
I love that.
to dream bigger than the limitations of the world around us.
So it's about envisioning a better reality, a more loving and joyful world.
He believes we have the power to create a heaven on earth.
Not through some grand utopian vision.
No, but through choosing to see the world through a lens of love,
Yeah.
possibility, and joy.
It's about letting go of fear, negativity, and those limiting beliefs that keep us trapped in cycles of suffering.
It's about embracing our inner child,
Mm-hmm.
that spark of divinity within us,
I love that.
and creating a reality that reflects our true nature
Yes.
as beings of love and light.
That's beautiful.
It's not about the rituals or the techniques.
Right.
It's about the energy we bring to our lives,
Yeah.
the choices we make, the love we share.
Shaman Durek's story is a testament to that.
It is.
We all have the power to create a more loving and magical world.
Right.
One thought, one action, one choice at a time.
So as you go about your day, remember to ask yourself, what would it look like to live from a place of love, playfulness, boundless possibility?
What would it look like to embody your true nature as a divine being?
A creator, a dreamer.
Those are great questions to ponder, and with that, we'll leave you to explore those depths within yourself. This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of Shaman Durek, and we hope you found some valuable insights along the way. Until next time, keep diving deep.